G'day guys, and welcome to the Forged by the Fire podcast. I've just had a chat with Dan, Dunny and my brother Ethan about all sorts of things when it comes to mental health and having conversations around it, noticing it in your colleagues, noticing it in yourself, being curious. What have I missed? All sorts of bits and pieces. Yeah. It's been a great time. I hope you enjoy it. We've got shorter mic stands this time, so we're doing it. We're getting there. So feel free to tune in, whether you're driving to work or watching from home, whatever you're doing. Enjoy. Jump in the comments below if you've got any questions or stories yourself that you want to share, and join the conversation. Feel free to crank on the barbecue yourself and have a chat with friends. I was just wondering, sort of, if anyone would have a good place to start as far as when we're in our workplace, and like this is for all frontline service workers, how to, I guess, notice things and what signs we're looking for in our friends and colleagues and family of when we might need a check-in or some support.
I think Dunny's the man for this one, eh?
I think we've all got our little ways, right? We've all got our little ways. Yeah, it's. I suppose it's for me knowing their normal, right? And anything that's outside their normal, then that's when you start to. I think it's just good to be, curious and connected to those people, and when they're outside of their normal, then just, checking in and just asking if they're okay, right? Just keep it nice and simple. I think even before that, though, for me, it's checking where I'm sitting before I even initiate that. Because we've all got our own stuff going on, right? So sometimes you might notice something in someone else, but I always like to check in first to make sure that I've got the capacity, if you know what I mean, to touch base with that person. But yeah, the simple thing is we're all human beings, right? We all interact with each other and whatever collective group we're in, whether it's family or whether it's at work or just our friend group, we learn someone's normal, and if they're stepping outside that, then I guess that's usually a good cue that maybe something's maybe a little bit untoward. Yeah. There's that 2-week window, right? I like to think of it as shit happens in life. And usually we can bounce back from it. We've got this sort of inbuilt resilience which we've built up over the years. But it's sort of, if you notice something different in someone and it's sort of ongoing, that's kind of for me the point where I tend to think, maybe I should step in, or at least prompt someone maybe that's closer to them to step in.
So you're saying if it lasts for 2 weeks?
I guess it depends on that person too, right? Yeah, but I think we've got this... we've kind of got this natural ability to I guess we react to a situation, and then time sort of gives us, we've all got these sort of coping mechanisms that we've developed over the years, right? Yeah. Handed down from our parents, and we've learned them. And some of them are good and some of them are bad, like let's say excessive or drug use, excessive alcohol use, withdrawal from social groups and all that sort of stuff. Those are all those sort of bad coping mechanisms, those maladaptive or bad coping behaviours. But then there's those good strategies that we build up as well, right? Like some people love to get out in nature. Some people just love sitting around having a chat with mates at a barbecue, eating sausages and drinking things. Well, there's a video pointed directly at their face. But you know what? Like, we all build up these coping strategies, and for some people it might just be sitting with their thoughts and processing things, and all of those are perfectly fine, right? There's no sort of script on you must do this and you must do that. It's about finding what's good for you. But I guess for me, it's also, and I have to be conscious of this as well, giving myself a little bit of time for that natural process to take its sort of natural progression and go through that whole, sometimes anger, sometimes disassociation, sometimes just misunderstanding, all of that sort of stuff, go through those processes, and then I can sort of almost self-correct and get myself back on the way. And 9 times out of 10, right, the things that we come across in life, that's how we deal with them. We talk to someone, have just an informal chat or something like that, and we can come through the situation and come out the side. I guess the things that we need to be a bit more conscious about, and we can see that in our peers, is when that sort of lasts maybe for a little bit longer than maybe that 2-week period, or that person is not always a recluse. They're usually bubbly and energetic, and they've just sort of withdrawn from their social network or something like that. So I think it's all about just observing people, knowing their normal, knowing their start point, or where they usually kick around, checking with yourself that if you want to do something or say something or step in, just a quick check. Actually, what's my ability to even deal with this at the moment, or touch base? Do I need to take a day or take some time to sort myself out, get myself into a good place, or do I need to talk to someone else and get them to chat with them or whatever, right? But it's checking with myself first, and then, hey buddy, what's going on?
Yeah.
That's just my 2 cents.
That's awesome.
Good. I reckon we're probably lucky because we spend so much time together as well.
Yeah.
You know, so you know your crew really well, probably more so than in a regular job, that you probably can pick those things up maybe a little bit easier, possibly.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, well, you're living together practically, right? It's like your family away from family. You fight.
Yeah. You know each other.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, man, I wish I could pick not if my family's watching, not my family, but sometimes you wish you could pick a different family. Some days you're like, man, this would be so much easier if you just conformed. But I think that's part of it too, right? It's just adapting and sort of adjusting. But yeah, you're right, I think.
Yeah. And I like what you said about maybe sometimes you're not the right person for that person, you know, because there's around station, there's some people who are like, you know, there'll be people who I wouldn't want trying to get all deep with me, you know. There'll be others that, like, okay, you're my guy, we can do that sort of thing. So having the right person for the job too, and also recognising we're not freaking counsellors or psychologists. It might just be if they're not alright, trying to point them in the right direction, you know.
100%.
Out of our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Where do you think the line is between, I guess, that you are the friend, you know, like, isn't there a space, I reckon, where a friend is almost more appropriate than a counsellor to be in?
I reckon if it's an actual serious thing, maybe not, because then what's the point of counsellors? What do they actually do? But the friend can be the one who initiates it and instigates it and maybe gets things going. Yeah.
It's kind of like a triage, eh? Really? Although that's how I see it anyway, right? Physical injuries and any sort of bumps, scrapes, all that sort of stuff, we sort of know how to deal with that because we've been brought up with, oh, hey, look, if you fall over and graze your arm, it's okay, you're going to be all right, we'll put a plaster on it, you're going to get better, right? But if you fall off your bike and there's a bone sticking out, we learn that, actually, we're probably going to need to go and see a professional for that. That's not something we can plaster up. And, well, it depends how hard you are, I suppose.
Dan would be fine,
I can
right?
imagine, you just
like, Dan really
well, that'll go back in at some point. I think it's about that triaging, and it's tricky because that's sometimes the bit I think that we get a bit nervous about, like, oh man, like, what if we open up a can of worms here and next minute I don't know sort of how to deal with this situation. But I think it's about getting to the point where you can sort of learn and see that, this might just be something that we need to, we can have a chat about, just us mates, or you're just a little bit out of sorts. And usually it might just be that recognition from someone else, right? That, hey buddy, are you all right? Because you just haven't sort of been your normal chirpy self, or like, what's happening? Is it like something that's going on, that job that we went to last week? Oh, no, man, that job's perfectly fine. No, it's just the kids at the moment are sick and the wife's working big hours, or, we've got sick family members, or whatever it is. It's about just that initial touch point, I think, and then you can sort of get a bit of a gauge and triage that a little bit. It might just be just that recognition of, oh, hey, look, buddy, like if there's anything that I can do to help during this bit, like I've got some capacity, let us know. If you want to chuck the kids at us, we'll look after your kids, or we can, deliver your groceries or something like that. Sometimes it's just having someone reach out and just go, hey, look, I understand the loads up there at the moment, just be aware of, notice something, and you're saying this without saying it, right?
Yeah.
And if you need help, you've got support, you've got a network, and sometimes it's just that where they can just take a breath and just go, yeah, it's just verbalising it in to their own self, that they realise, oh, actually, I've got a lot on at the moment, I'm acting a little different, maybe I need to regulate some stuff. Sometimes I think that's like maybe 9 out of 10 or 99% of the situations, right? And sometimes for me it's just recognising that, triaging it, and then, like you say, if they're like, oh man, I'm snowed under, I don't want to get out of bed in the morning, everything's falling apart, that's right, that's the broken arm, that's where it's sticking out.
And it's amazing how much, so something that probably lacks a little bit in our workplace, because I feel like even just, this podcast has been live for a week, and even just in that week that I've been telling people, I've started a podcast looking at mental health for frontline service workers. Boom, like the moment there's an opportunity for someone to open up, you don't have to work very hard. It's like, probably on a number of occasions already, just like floodgates open, like, well, that's I had no idea that was going on for them, and it opens obviously a door that is needing to be opened, right? Like, is it?
We're just going to turn that. Here, give me that computer. I'm going to be the interviewer now.
Yeah,
what do you think it's just? This is just for me. Like, I love just probing this sort of stuff. What do you think it is that's done that? Like, all of a sudden you've become this beacon almost, where moths are attracted and they're like, ooh.
I was actually going to ask you pretty much that exact question.
It's way easier. I don't even have to think anymore.
My personal feeling at the moment, I think, for like a big issue for frontline service workers is burnout, and that's just a huge hit to social life. Like, I think firefighting is quite probably different, because we have a lot of time to sit around and yarn with each other, whereas I don't know, perhaps this is what I'm curious about. You mentioned before, Dunny, like, you notice the change of someone being more withdrawn, and I kind of wonder if that's a bit of a larger issue for frontline service workers, where a lot of people get withdrawn, and then because of the antisocial work hours, like things that probably their old social group can't really relate to anymore because of the type of work, the environment they're in, and almost the work life gets quite isolated and quite withdrawn. At the moment, there is someone who shows a little bit of interest in listening. The opportunity is more than necessary. Is that an issue you guys might see?
Probably a little bit what Dunny said too, though, I reckon, because around here he's probably the guy, right? It's one of us, the mental health guy, whether he likes it or not. It's sort of like,
thanks, man.
No, in a good way.
Oh, good. It's always good to find out what everyone's talking about.
And people obviously know you're doing your thing, so it probably is a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
They know you're open to it. There's going to be no judgment.
I think that's a big part of it, right? I think it's that vulnerability. It's a safe space, right? And that usually either comes from an experience or a passion for that sort of thing. But yeah, I think it is just that you can sometimes be that little beacon where they can just come in a little touch point where they can go, hey man, I've actually been thinking about this. It's quite interesting to see, because when I was going through all my struggles, I felt like, man, I'm when I realised I was suffering, because that's the first part, right? Actually recognising that, this isn't my normal. When I realised that, and then got some help, and then got to a point where I felt like I could talk about it, I felt like I was the only one going through it at that point. But then it's like you say, it's incredible to actually then, as soon as you get the confidence up to say, this is what's happened to me, I don't want it to happen to anyone else. It's more, I guess it's more prevalent than you think, which I guess is a really sort of like a beacon of hope for anyone who is feeling like that and is struggling at the moment, because like a lot of us have a friend network, and a lot of us have peers, feel we've got peers at work that we can talk to, but for some people there just isn't, right? They've either become so isolated or just haven't, they're not an outgoing person who engages freely with others. They're a bit more of a sort of introvert. So sometimes those people can feel really alone, that's I think the tricky bit. But it's about, I guess, directing them to someone that they feel comfortable with. But I think a lot of that comes from that, just showing vulnerability or showing like, hey, look, I'm okay to talk with that, and don't undersell yourself. I think you're one of the people that people approach as well.
No, but even like outside of you two, you'd think like on our station there'd be particular people that guys will be more inclined to go and talk to those people than others. It's just just their nature or whatever. Big time. It's definitely part of it. I mean, not everyone probably is that guy, right, to have that conversation with.
And I think sometimes it's about when. And that I can imagine that would be terrifying, right? Like, I don't mind talking, believe it or not. So that would be relatively terrifying if I was more of an introvert, having someone come to me and just sit down and like, oh man, I'm not coping, and I'd be sitting there like, okay, okay, So sometimes they're not, but I guess for even those people. That maybe don't feel that they're currently equipped to deal with those situations. It's about knowing those places you can go or you can refer them to, and like, and all it needs to be is, hey man, well, that sucks. Should we go talk to someone? Should we go talk to the boss, or is there someone that you feel really comfortable talking to? And just being honest and saying, man, I don't know how comfortable I am talking about this sort of stuff, but we can find someone that you can open up to, right? Yeah. But I'll give you the mic back now. You're back in charge.
Good. I don't want to slow anyone down. No, that's real cool. Let's go more into that. Like, how do you reckon? Because I guess there are moments where you're probably not the one to check in on someone. How do you gauge that for you? Like, I guess this will lead into how to build like trusting relationships, but like, how do you know if you see someone at work that you reckon is struggling? How do you gauge whether or not you're the appropriate person to go to them and say, do you need help?
I reckon you just know, right?
Yeah.
We all know our relationships with the different people on the station, and if it wasn't you, you'd probably know who it was. Yeah. Talking about us specifically in our jobs. That's it'd be as simple as that for me. If I'm not the guy, I'd know, he's really trusting of this person. Yep. Maybe I'll chat to them and go, hey, have you had a yarn to such and such? Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't overthink it. Yeah. It's sort of like,
sometimes that's the best thing, right? Yeah. Just not overthinking it and just going with your gut. Yeah. Because we're all humans, right? We all know how to interact with it. Well, most of us know how to interact with each other. Yeah. But I think for me, it's always that checking my capacity first. Yes. Like just having a little stop and actually, what have I got on my plate right now, right? Am I in one of those moods, because everyone gets in them, where I feel like, my head's just above water at the moment with everything that's maybe the kids or work or just life in general. But for me, it's about checking that capacity first. I think actually, I've got capacity. And if you feel like you are that person that has that capacity, sometimes it's just as easy as just sitting with that person in the mud, right? If you can cope with that, we don't need to fix it sometimes, which man, like being, especially Kiwi males, and in the occupation that we're in, like if it's broken, we need to find a way to repair that thing, and sometimes that's maybe not what's required. Maybe sometimes it's just sitting and practicing our listening, and then, hey, that sucks.
Yeah.
What can we do, or how can I help to get you back to a place, or oh man, I genuinely just be honest, and I'm not too sure how we're going to deal with that, but I tell you what, let's go and find out how we can make it better together, right? Or hey, is there someone else in your family that you feel close to, or refer that? But I think it's for me, it's always checking that capacity within myself, and then like you say, hey, it's just who else is around here that might be better equipped, or might be closer to this person, or that we can ask them if they're happy with us. Hey man, yeah, I can help you, but who else is there that we can maybe open up to?
I think that's such a cool point, Dunny. Like, I love that, because I think I sort of think of it in a similar way. I remember when first started volunteering with the Coast Guard, and you know, I was young and super keen, and you know, learning all the different like techniques of how to help people and stuff, and the underlying principle was like, you're the one with the boat, don't jump off it. Like, if you're going to help them, you got to recognise you're the one with the stable platform, the other one in trouble. You got to sort of keep that stable platform, and that's where you can help from. And I don't know, I think that principle sort of carried over a few different things for me, and mental health is sort of a similar thing, where you've got to be on a stable platform for being able to support someone. So with that stable platform, just like quick fire questions, if you were to have 4 pillars of your stable platform, what do you reckon that'd be for you?
For me, I quite like the whare tapa whā model.
Yes.
A little bit.
Cool.
So in general, it's about, for me, I've adapted it slightly, and it's about just checking in on my physical well-being. Like, it's all connected, right? Our mind and we break it down into these silos to better understand ourselves, but realistically, it's all one. Physically, if we're not in a good way, then that'll affect our spiritual and mental, all of that, our family connections, all of that sort of stuff. But for me, I just try and break it down into those real simple 4 sort of groups. So family, and how's that? How are my connections with my family? Am I spending enough time? Am I genuinely engaging with my family when I'm with them, right? Or I'm with my mind somewhere else? That whole the wilder side of things. So my spiritual connection, like how am I and myself and my connections to what I believe in, and sort of, I guess, my faith. Physical, and then just that sort of mental side of things, like what's going on in my mind, what are the sort of, I guess, pressures and all of that sort of stuff that I'm currently dealing with, or thought processes and stuff like that. So I just try and break it down to those, that sort of physical, that family and connection with other people, that spiritual, and then my mental state, like what's going on inside my head right now.
Love it. Ethan?
I probably agree with that. I think those four pillars, I think it has to be your connection with your family or your community, those whom you feel close with. I think that is something that feeds you. You need to make sure that that's actually looking after you, that you're putting in what's required to have that at that level. Your faith, absolutely. With whatever it might be, it's really important that you're spending time actually looking after that, whatever that looks like. I think looking after yourself, making sure that, there's an analogy Dad always uses, it's when you've got all those champagne glasses, and you just pour into the top one, it overflows into all the rest. So you just need to make sure all you got to do is just look after that top one, you know. You need to make sure that you're in a place where you actually can give out of overflow and not emptying yourself, like giving out of emptying, because that way that's jumping off the platform, right? That way you're not in a stable place anymore. So making sure that what you're actually providing for others is in that overflow and that you're looking after yourself properly with those pillars. I think that's probably what I would say is really important, you know.
Cool.
Not that I've had any of the experience you guys have, you know, hearing what you're saying about the not competent people. That's probably how I feel, you know. If I see a workmate, it's like, oh, what do I do? You know, I don't feel like I'm the one that can help that out. But you know, hearing, it's actually about finding those who then can, or doing what you can. You don't need to be the solution or the answer.
Yeah, you don't need to fix it, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably just as important, right? Because most people aren't that person.
Yeah, right.
It's the rare types that are. So I feel like sometimes people might try and do too much, where it is just, for most people, it's just asking if they're okay, and then plotting a path with them, as opposed to I'm going to fix you, because we're not.
Yeah.
Most dudes, like, even the pillars, I don't think like that. Sure, I'm not thinking about pillars or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
But that's
I
how
either feel good or I don't.
I guess
Yeah,
that's how varied it is, right? And I guess the key to it is about thinking about, well, just how you are and you might do it totally different, right? You might have a value structure. You might just know, and you just know you, and
because
you're
don't
just you and
think it, right? I'm not spending any time thinking about this. So
handy,
you know?
Yeah. So you're you, but I think it's important to know, I guess, where you're grounded or what you're grounded in. Yeah, and you might not actually go through and think that. It might just be something naturally that there's just always been in the background, and you know, right? Yeah. So it comes back to that whole, just don't overcomplicate it, right? If you don't have to. Sometimes it's just that real organic stuff. But yeah, whatever works for the individual.
Awesome. Before, Dunny, you also mentioned listening. Wouldn't mind. I mean, you've mentioned so much already. I feel like I'm losing track of the things I want to hear more about. But how do you listen to someone?
Sorry, repeat the question.
Classic.
Stop it. It's kind of, oh man, I've got some dad jokes that I just want to
Good, man. Let it rain.
I think that thing that I keep thinking about is sitting in the mud, and I have to fight this, right? Because I see a problem and I want to fix it. So this is something that I guess I have to sort of practice a lot, and I'm still trying to get better at it. So I think it's about just giving that person space, right? And I've had to try and practice sitting in silence in a conversation and just being okay with it. Like sometimes I feel like I've got to fill a void with words, but we don't have to. And sometimes it's just I guess once again checking in and seeing what your mental state's like, right? If you're hectic at the moment, then you're probably not going to be that open to sitting down and listening to someone else's problems. So if you've got that capacity, then it's about just consciously being in that environment and being with that person and switching the phone on silent and just going, hey, look, yeah, man, well, let's have a chat. If they come to you and like, hey, I just want to have a chat about some stuff, like physically, like, right, yeah, man, let's turn this phone on silent. You got me. I'm all ears. What do you want to talk about? Finding that quiet space away from others and all that sort of stuff. And just, I just always think back to just sitting in that mud with that person. You don't have to fix it a lot of the time. Sometimes people are just looking for a vent, or they're just going to talk through what's going on with them. And you're not a psychologist or you're not a specialist, but you're just, like, just giving them space to verbalise what's going on in their head. And they usually, 9 out of 10 times, they'll solve whatever situation they're in. And you'll look like you're some sort of magician, but all you've done there is sit there with your mouth shut, which for me, that is like a magic trick, sitting with my mouth shut. for at any space of time. But I think that's it, right? It's about consciously setting aside some time for that person, and it's just sitting in the mud with them, just being that person where they can offload. And 9 times out of 10, I think they sort of just talk through their issues, and you're like, well, hey, and what's going to... Do you know what's going to get you back to a place of happy? Is it just time? Or should we go for a walk while we're talking about this? Where do you like to get? Do you want to go? Should we go to the beach? When was the last time we went fishing? You know? But sometimes it's just that. I remember when I was in a low point, there was a certain individual, which I think we all know, and he just wouldn't get off my back about going up the mountain, come for a run, or, boy, let's go, we're going to go for a walk. And he just, oh man, it was such a pain in the ass, right? But it's during that time and just some little prompts and just being with that individual, walking or trying to run and then walking. When you're puffed, that's becomes really easy to not say anything, right? But just that alone, I think, giving that space, and that's that time where you're concentrated on just surviving to get to the top of this hill while this person's quite happily chatting away, blah, 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 right? I won't mention Campbell Kent's name, but it's just people like that who see things, and sometimes that's just that space, right, where you didn't do anything special, but it's just, I don't know, just making that little bit of room for someone.
I like it.
Yeah. I don't know. Thoughts?
Yeah, I guess if it was work related, you'd probably be able to identify it. If it was, and we spoke about it before, we're used to lots of situations that probably aren't normal for a lot of people but have become normalised for us, but then you'd get the real weird ones. There'd be things here that all of us would be like, please don't be a kid involved, or please don't be anything like that. So if it was something like that had triggered someone, potentially it's going to be fairly obvious, and you could almost probe that a little bit, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But if it's something outside of working from home life, then it is going to take someone who you're a mate with who is going to notice those changes, like those subtle little changes that potentially just someone you just pass by at jump time is not going to notice. So I guess it depends if there is a triggering moment or not, or if it's just sort of like a combination of things.
I like it. That's really cool. When it comes to that, like, I think as someone who is really passionate about, like, mental health, psychology, all that stuff, like, I just love it, right? Like, I think, I'm going like, man, everyone should know this stuff. Like everyone, like, it should be more widely known and more, like, talked about more. But the fact is, in our work culture, not everyone wants to talk about it. So what do you do with that culture? Like, when there needs to be space for listening, you need to create room for stopping, listening, and being curious, right? As you mentioned before. But that isn't for everybody. So how does that culture look, and how do you go about forming that?
I don't know, I'm probably like the opposite to you, right? We're not the same, we get to the same place, but we're not, I'm not thinking about it
the perfect
the
person
same
to
way that
talk
you
to.
do.
Yeah.
And I reckon there's probably more of me out there than you, possibly, right?
Like, in my experience, I feel like out of the people that I say, mention what I'm studying to, I get a lot more, I don't know how to phrase it, but maybe people who that's not quite their thing. A lot of people.
And it's not that it's not my thing, I just have never put I haven't studied it, I haven't put any time into it, so I just know if this happens, this is going to happen. I'm not like, that's happened because Freud said this and that and this and that, like, it doesn't interest me, but I know that it's worthwhile, especially for like the hardcore cases. But in terms of normalising it, it is just the likes of you. I mean, Kozu's mate, he's one of the more popular guys around the place, right? And everyone knows It's his jam, so
What did you say?
Good things
it
about
just
it.
all normalises it. The more
Yeah.
people that are talking about it, you know, you and Woody got your run thing going, and that gets a huge buy-in.
Huge buy-in.
And everyone knows
awesome.
the story behind that. It's not just like a fun run. So there's people who are out there doing,
Yeah.
and it's the people who are passionate about it, like you two. I'm passionate about the outcomes. I want everyone to be all right, but I'm not, you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
not from the learning part of it.
Yeah.
Just as long as everyone.
So then for you, for someone, you know, like, honestly, I think you're sort of selling yourself short there, Dan. I think you're an extremely supportive and proactive, and like you. Yeah.
Well, I agree with that,
like
but
it's-
I think it's coming from.
Yeah, it's
A different place,
yeah,
right?
as far as like what we were
100%.
saying before about keeping it simple. I think maybe that's what. Is that where you're coming from? Where it's like for you, it's just keeping it a lot more simple, not
just
worrying
like
about 4 pillars.
Someone looks like they need to chat. I'll chat
Yeah.
to them. Not,
Yeah, cool.
Not. I haven't given it any more thought than that.
That's perfect. That's
You know?
what I like for you. What does that environment? What should that environment look like, and how do you create that?
I think it's just the right people
Yeah.
driving it, and so there'll be people who this really appeals to because they'll go, that's happening because this is happening because of that happening, you know.
Yeah.
And there'll be others that'll just be like, you know who'd be good to talk to him? Campbell Kent. He's the guy.
Yeah.
As simple as that. We'll put Campbell in.
He'll love the fact we're name dropping him too. Someone's got to show him this video. Anyone who hasn't met Campbell Cairns,
Yeah.
they need to get to
Oh, you know, or Dunny, you know, whoever it happens to be.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
because they're out there and people know them, they're going to
Yeah.
be like, yeah, no one's going to feel. I'd struggle to think there'd be any, if we're talking firefighters, no firefighters are going to be like, oh man, Dunny's going to come talk to me. They'd look forward to it, everyone likes him,
Yeah.
and he'd get the message across. So
Yeah.
it's that he's done the work to get there, you're doing the work to get there too. So I think there's going to be these like beacons, these people out there who you just naturally go to. And then like at our station, there's guys, people who you probably wouldn't even think, but like a Jeff Parker,
100%.
he's the guy out there,
Yeah.
you know. I don't know, is it because he's got 3 daughters and he's like a real fatherly figure? But he can pick up, if anyone's a little off, he's just got it.
Yeah.
Not from a learned background, just because he's in
Intuitive.
tune with it.
But that, I think for me, that's what that variability of different people coming at from different angles that's 100% what we need, right? Like we need the people who are passionate about it and they're going to learn all the back end sort of psychological stuff, you know, like opening up a book and reading through all that sort of stuff would absolutely do my brain in. Like that's not how I couldn't do it. But we need it.
Yeah.
And we also need the people who don't mind a chat, I guess, who are, I guess, okay with telling their stories, but we also need the people who are just that individual that's in the background, that someone who isn't going to go to the person who's learnt all the back-end book stuff or is just not comfortable talking to that guy that talks heaps and is out there and all that sort of stuff. We need those other people as well that are just walking past and they can just go, buddy, how are you? Yeah, and they don't overthink it. They're just like, let's go for a run. Or, hey, well, I'm not doing anything. Like that, for me, having these multiple safety nets. So if someone doesn't feel right landing in one or slips through one, you've got another one. They'll get caught, right, before they hit rock bottom. But it's having these layers of safety nets in there, the peer support network, you know, all the stuff that if your workplace, ours is good, it's got a lot of back-end stuff. If your workplace has a EAP program, all of that sort of stuff, like everyone's hopefully going to find an avenue. It's just about making sure that we sort of lay all those in front of them for the people that are struggling and prompt them to try different things.
And I think there's huge value in what you're doing. I'm not saying
No,
that's not the case.
That's not what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
But I also think it is in a fairly good spot at the moment. You know, I don't
Awesome.
think anyone at work could feel embarrassed to reach out and ask for help.
Yeah, I hope not. Hey, I hope not. There's always potentially one or two, but I think that's I'm buoyed by the fact of where it's going, right? And even just stuff like this, like if you time walk back even sort of 10 years, to think that someone could say, I'm going to start a podcast and get some firefighters to come along and chat about like what they think about mental well-being. No offence, man, like you're a likeable guy, but I don't know if you could get many people sitting here. So the needle is shifting, I think, right? Well, I hope so. There'll be pockets, and I guess for anyone watching this that feels like they don't have that supportive network potentially in their watch or in their group of friends or whatever, it's about knowing that there is avenues out there outside of that. It's just about, connecting with those and touching base with a peer supporter or finding a family member that you feel that you could potentially talk to, or even 1737, you can call that any time and talk to a counsellor free in New Zealand. Like if that, just talking to a total stranger is something, it's all you've got, then pluck up the courage to do it, right? Because I guess sometimes I feel a bit lucky having the people around me that I've had around me, but I'm very aware that sometimes not everyone has that. But yeah, so cool that there's such a varied sort of, I guess, these varied avenues for people to, reach out or get help.
That's such a cool perspective, man, because my approach to mental health is it's not do away with resilience. There needs to be resilience. What I'm passionate about is resilience, and that means to what both of you are saying, that means you need those people that just crack on, and maybe it's not their cup of tea to do all the sort of softly stuff. We need those people. I like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not about being hard, right?
No.
Those people aren't just stone-faced and have no heart.
Yeah.
It's that they may see these things a whole lot simpler, and sometimes that's what we need, right? Like we need the complexity sometimes, but there's other times where we just need someone to grab us, yank us out of bed and go, let's go. Yeah. Come on, we're going for a walk. So it's about, just that multifaceted approach. And I think that, I think we're kind of lucky to have that cross-section of people that are into it like yourself and passionate about it. And then the people who see it a lot more straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, how to recognise in yourself when you need help, and how to go about asking for help.
I've had a journey, I guess, where I was unaware that I was struggling with depression. There was anxiety, definitely burnout, pretty severe burnout. Disconnected, or felt disconnected from the people around me that I love, and I was at rock bottom. I got to a point where I was, I guess, not planning to take my own life, but started having intrusive thoughts like, actually, would the people around me that I love, would they be better off if I wasn't here? Am I just dragging them down? So I think for me, it got to a point where, luckily, there was some individuals that within our organisation, and I consider them to be mates outside of work as well, that sort of reached in and grabbed me and pushed me in these directions to get help. I guess I didn't know what I didn't know at that point. I didn't know anything about depression or bad coping strategies or any of that sort of stuff. To me, it was just all weird scientific stuff that I couldn't understand. But I guess after sort of going through that process, I've come out the other side, and for me, it's about just self-checking. So taking, if it's 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, putting that aside in the day just to run through those, for me, those pillars, right? Actually, what am I going to do today to support my physical health? What am I going to do today that is going to connect me to some good people or my family? Or what am I going to do that's going to ground me in what I believe and spiritually how I feel about myself? And so going through all of those sort of checkpoints or those checklists and those pillars, and just making sure that I'm not sort of leaving any out, that keeps me level, keeps me usually where I need to be. I lose track of that sometimes, and there's like everyone's human, right? And sometimes I'll catch myself where I might have been just a dick to be around for maybe a day or a couple of days, but I'll give myself a little bit of leeway and go, okay, man, sweet as, all good, you're human, you've been a dick. Apologise to someone if you need to apologise to them, which is usually my wife, Lisa. It's just, actually, it's better off waking up every day and just saying, sorry about yesterday, and whatever unfolds today is probably there's probably going to be some things today that maybe you disagree with or roll your eyes at. But I think it's just checking in, right, and making sure that you're getting enough of first finding out what keeps you happy, healthy, and in that, I guess, green headspace, and then just evaluating and checking, and just not being judgmental and all of that sort of stuff and kicking yourself for it, but just going, oh, maybe I have been a bit of a dick lately, but well, actually, what do I need to change that and get yourself back to there? But it's that self-check, right? But if you don't know about that sort of stuff, you don't know what you don't know.
So in your first instance, did you realise something's going on here, or was it outside people who were like, hey, Dunny, mate, we need to...
Yeah, I was lucky enough that on my crew at the time was someone who's managed to forge themselves a path through the sort of mental well-being space in the organisation. He's got to dizzying heights now, which he's good at what he does, I guess. Yeah, I ask myself questions as, why has he gone that high and I'm sitting in the trucks, like, what's happening there? Oh, it must be right. Yeah, I just haven't been spotted yet. But I guess, it was that person doing just what we talked about, right? Recognising something's a little off and thinking that, okay, maybe the best way to approach this is just pointing Dunny in a few directions. But, hey, man, there's this course coming up, and for me it was a psychological first aid course with St. John was the first sort of, I guess, catalyst for me. Learning, it was just a one-day course, learning about depression, anxiety, bad coping strategies, drug addiction, all that sort of stuff. And I went through the thing and I went into it with an open mind. It was on the drive back, and I still remember the exact rest area where I pulled over, and it was just like almost, sounds weird, but like a bolt of lightning hit me, and this light bulb just came on, and I had to pull over to the side of the road, and I just sat there for like 10 minutes just going back through and thinking, oh man, like that thing that I learnt today, that applies to me. Actually, I'm showing some of those signs, and oh man, that stuff and that stuff. And I remember going home, and when I got home, just once again apologising to my wife, for starters, the habit that I've developed, and just being like, oh man, like I didn't know, but I can see, and that was for me, like, it didn't cure me, and I was like, yes, sweet, mental well-being, I've ticked that off. Sit back and relax. Now it was that catalyst so I could actually learn to be a bit kinder to myself and start breaking that stuff down. And then the second thing, which was the next big needle move for me, was interacting with an organisation, Te Kiwi Maya, which is a charity that's set up by three fantastic people, and now all of these peripheral people that are really passionate about physical and psychological rehabilitation for first responders and defence force personnel. That's their goal, is just to make sure that everyone who goes out and helps Kiwis and people around the world has the capability and capacity and can, I guess, heal from some of the things that they see and are engaged with. So a week-long sort of live-in course on burnout, and that just sort of further educated and built on the stuff that the first sort of catalyst, or the stuff that was working on in the background sort of thing. So I was lucky enough to have that individual that poked me in that right direction, and on reflection there's been a whole lot of other organisations or people step in, but I think it just shows how powerful that one person can be, and it just might take something as simple as like, hey buddy, are you doing all right? Do you need to talk to someone? And if so, I'll walk beside you and we'll find out who that person is, or, you know, whatever, because that's what started me on a journey of recognising and understanding myself better, and it can genuinely be that simple. Does that answer the question? I can't remember what the question was.
It was a good answer. What
Kind of
the question
ramble.
was.
Yeah. Where are we?
Yeah.
We're sort of broadly talking about when to look for help and when to look for professional help.
Yeah.
How do you go about that?
I've probably been quite lucky, maybe. I don't know. I haven't really had any major stuff.
That's so good.
But my wife, she's like you, mate, right into the psychology and studies all that stuff, and so she would be my. She'd know about it well before me. I can't imagine if anything was.
She's the puppet master in there.
Yeah, but she loves it and all the reasons why and this, that, and the other, and piecing things together. But thankfully, I mean, of course, I have sad times and whatever, but nothing that's really prolonged that has been anything more than that, you know.
I think understanding, like, if it is getting to that point where you're going to sit down with someone or someone's come to you, just that honesty piece. If you don't know sort of what to do in that situation, being upfront with that person and saying, hey, look, man, like this sort of stuff is sometimes a little bit foreign to me, but we can go look together. Sometimes asking those pertinent questions or those poignant ones, like if you think that they are potentially looking to harm themselves, just asking that question straight up, if you're in a comfortable position to do that, where you're like, have you thought about taking your own life? Like, is it getting to that point? And if it is, then that is one of those things where it's probably you need to actually action that or do that, and for me that's getting in touch with, not leaving them, and getting in touch with the crisis team at your local hospital and stuff like that. I guess those are the sort of serious ends. For us in our organisation, and I guess most first responder organisations, there's wellbeing advisors and all of that sort of stuff, peer supporters that you can reach out and interact with, and knowing those people before you need to lean on them is probably a good thing too, just refreshing yourself with who they are. They're usually fantastic people. There's a reason they lean towards that sort of side of the organisation. It's because they're really good at it. And yeah, that professional help, that 1737, text or call at any time of the day, 24/7, you can talk to someone that can talk you through and help you through that. So if there's, like you say, like if you've got this gut feeling where, oh man, this just isn't right, or I just don't like some of the things that they're saying, talk to them about it and just say, hey, look, buddy, man, like some of the things that you've said, I think that maybe they're a bit more serious than what we can deal with. Are you cool with us together going and can we text this number 1737, or can we call it and just see, we can work out together what we do next? I don't know. It's understanding where I guess you feel like, oh man, this is getting deep for me, and not sort of pushing through and it's like, oh we've got in here now.
And when you're talking to people, also understanding that by bringing up the have you thought about, you know, self-harm or suicidal thought ideation and stuff like that, that's not going to plant a seed, you know, like I feel like a lot of people, including myself, probably would overthink that part of a conversation. Like I would be like, oh, I don't know if I should even mention this, but understanding that that's a important thing to bring up rather than a
100%,
plant a seed. And what if you
yeah, 100%. It's safe to do it if you don't lead with it, but if you think that, you know, you go with your gut feeling, and if you think, oh man, are they getting to it, then it's okay to ask that question. Just ask it just straight like that, and then be prepared for whatever answer is, you know, going to turn up, and then reach out. Don't leave that person. Just reach out. There's avenues, right?
What about you, mate?
What about me?
Same thing. How do you recognise anything going on with you?
I think, I don't know about me.
Not so easy now, is it?
I feel like I can pretty easily detect when I'm like, I'm not in a good headspace. As you say, like just the time thing, probably I find sleeping it off helps. But yeah, as far as actually detecting it, knowing when to ask for help, probably just know, little things start bothering me, and it's a good sign to me. That it's like, I'm probably a bit overtired and probably not really in a, in a great headspace. But yeah.
I think important too, those people that you see the most often, right? Sometimes we don't. I think, especially in our line of work, sometimes we don't. We're a little bit afraid to share maybe what's gone on that day at work or whatever. We want to go into that, especially I think probably even guys are even worse maybe, where we go into that protector mode where we're like, oh, they don't need to know about what's going on, and all of the gory details 100%, right? But just for me, it's just another safety net, right? If I've got someone at home, it could be your husband, wife, even your kids as they sort of get older, or a trusted friend, just someone that you can, today wasn't so good, we went to something, and it kind of, I'm sort of hanging on a little bit to it, then just that alone, right, then they can understand, okay, so if he fires up or is a bit grumpy or something like that, it's not directed at us. There's a reason for it. And I guess building in those safety nets, like in peacetime when it's not a time of war, right, where you've come back and you're kicking the cat as you walk through the door, and you're frumpy and you're just looking for someone to tear strips off, right? Maybe setting that up beforehand and like, hey, look, when I come home, and this is something like, for me, I talk to my kids about it. Once again, just go into the sort of basics. I don't know if that's right or wrong or traumatising them for the rest of their life, probably. We'll find out when they turn like 21. They're either in prison or the... but I guess for me, they see the world a whole lot simpler sometimes than I do. And if I get home and they're like, how was your day, Dad? If I just say, oh, not too good, actually, or oh, I went to a couple of jobs and maybe one of them wasn't so great, or even if you're not a firefighter or first responder, the workload, there's a lot going on at work, the photocopy is broken down again, all that sort of stuff. Sometimes they can just look at it from a simple view and they're just like, oh, okay, well, do you want to come out and bounce on the tram? And sometimes that's the last thing you want to do, right? But then you're like, what's the reason for me to say no? Actually, should I spend some time with it? And maybe that's exactly what I need, right? To re-zero, I need to go and just spend some time with the kids and do something fun for them. It won't be fun for me when my knees blow out and I'll do a backflip, and then next thing I know, I'm apologising to Lisa again because she's packing me into the back of an ambulance. But like all that sort of, I just get building in those safety nets for me is, and doing that when you're not, got no capacity, talking to those people that know you best, whether that's someone at home or what. For me, that's something that I'll, I guess, learn.
That's such a cool question too, eh? Like, I guess back to like the withdrawn or isolated thing. That question of what's a reason to say no. It's a really good question to ask yourself if you do feel like you're starting to get more withdrawn and there are invites to be something part of something bigger than yourself. Asking yourself that question, that's a really cool.
Yeah, 100%. Because that's for me anyway. That's the first sign, right? Like if I'm like, oh no, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, but like inside, this outer shell looks really old, right? It's weathered. But inside, there's just a kid bouncing around in there kicking a ball, right? And I think that's the same with a lot of us, right? We get caught up in the things that can be hectic, and for those of us that are lucky to have some little people in our lives, and even if they're not your own, I'm not saying go to abduct a kid so you can have some fun. Don't do that. But just interacting with others, people that are not seeing what you're seeing, right? Like firefighters hanging out with firefighters is fantastic, but sometimes hanging out with people that are outside the job, can just give us that perspective, and laughing and giggling about something, and the next minute we find ourselves, actually not thinking about what was going on or that's gone, because actually we're talking about something normal that's going on, or we're detract from that. We can should play cricket. I don't know. For me, that's
Yeah, that's awesome.
Why? Is it just easier to say no? Let's say yes.
Should we play a quick game and then we'll wrap it up?
Oh yeah.
So the idea of this game is we're going to play it a bit differently than we did last time. It's just to sort of, I think, if the conversation ever does get, like a bit too heavy, this is just a bit of a brighten up. So what we're going to do is we're just going to blind rank them this time. So Ethan's our game host.
Indeed. So today we're doing it a little bit differently. We've got 5 worst case scenarios that we're going to have out, and we're each going to have a set of tokens, and we're going to need to rank the scenario bad to worst, except we don't know what scenario is coming up next.
Ooh,
okay.
Gotcha.
So,
And then at the end we'll just see who's got the...
who managed to sort
just
of get
blind nail it.
Those will be for you.
Oh.
And let's go.
And we'll see who's got the best chance of surviving.
That's right. That's right. So it's a bit of a trial run. We'll see how it runs, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so our first scenario.
Does it make sense? So 1 is bad,
Yeah.
5 is the worst.
Yeah.
All right, and we're just going to put them in our order.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
just,
we're gonna choose
In front of us, or in front of you.
Okay.
wherever. I don't really know if it matters.
Probably just in front of
Okay.
us as well.
Yeah. So
Just put them in order.
dismount from a wild bronco.
Dismount from
What was
a
it,
wild
sorry?
Dismount from a wild bronco.
I'm going to use my
bad do you
4.
think
That's
that
pretty
is?
horrible.
Are you actually saying what? Are you saying what?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
it. We
yeah,
all
okay.
need to choose the number.
I'm going with 4.
Oh, I like to
That's-
leave a few in the
Yeah, man,
in the
that's-
tank.
Yeah, 3.
It's going to be way worse than that.
Yeah, I'm going 2.
Does
I'm going 1.
Whoa,
you
guys are mad,
I
lads.
come from a ranch, stuff.
Farm boy.
Wow. Doesn't dismount mean like afterwards when you're hopping off, or is that like being bucked off?
Yeah, but I don't think you just push pause and you're like, oh, okay, now and then you just step off. Yeah, like that is, I don't think that's the whole thing.
One might not landing on my feet.
Yeah.
Walking away.
Cartwheel off, right?
You go, lad.
That's a good point.
The Bronco out, basically. It's like,
It can't cope anymore. Caught in the mouth of a blue whale. We had that one in the last one.
Yeah.
holy.
Call them out, lads.
I should get some.
I'm going to use 2.
Fresher
That's
cards.
very bad, but...
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
I'm going. That's like certain death.
Yeah, I'd go 4 for that one.
I'm going 5 for that one.
I only go 4.
Like it'd be warm in there, but that's probably the only benefit. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like it
four.
would just spit you straight back out. Like, that's where my mind was.
My mind
like,
is
it would be
you're
like...
Nah, we're going.
You're going deep.
They're not picky, man. Yeah. I think they'll eat most things.
We're going in.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I got a
Only
bad
one-
lips.
Only one way to find out, right?
Have all of your toenails slowly removed?
That's 5.
I should have kept my 4.
Straight away, that's 5.
I mean, there's going to be other death scenarios, I feel.
I reckon.
Yeah, I feel like I'm.
I don't know. Not all of them are. I'm
3,
also.
slap bang in the middle for me.
I'm going 5 as well. That is a form of torture, right? They
I would
literally
rather
do that
die.
for torture. Yeah.
I've had mine
die.
progressively removed by running, just a couple of them, but like this is like you're talking
See?
pliers pulled out.
Yeah, that's what I'm imagining.
But also, that's a good case
You're
for
not gonna
why
die, mate.
no one should ever run. I think running
Yeah.
should be taken out.
You're probably right. I might go 5 on that one.
Yeah,
Shot in your pinky toe. Yeah, it's all good.
that's 1.
You
That's
can
all good.
lose those, can't you?
That's right. That's fine.
That's rough.
That's all good.
but
Make it mean ass story.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I've been putting them. I've been putting them in
Simple instructions.
Gee whiz.
Lucky
And
last.
Lucky last. Live through a pandemic. Well, we've all done that.
Oh.
I've got that as number 2.
Yeah, that's not awful. Okay, mine's bad. Mine's terribly
Yeah.
out of order.
I think I've nailed it. I got a 4 for the Bronco, 3 for the blue whale. Oh, yeah, maybe that should be higher. A 5 for the toenails, a 1 for the pinky toe, and a 2 for the pendulum. Okay, that should be the other way around.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
if I swap my in ones, maybe 2,
Yeah.
4, 5, 3, 1. But whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Ooh,
I'm just
man.
glad that the toenail is worst. Is that everyone's toenail?
It's my worst. I think Dan's got.
Dan's
I'd already
toenail.
used my
Yeah,
worst.
Dan's got the whale's
That's
worst, which is
sticking deep.
I
Fair
can
enough.
see that.
There's
too.
a reason
Those
it's a
are
form of
both-
torture, right?
Yeah,
That
nasty.
sounds
Some,
horrific.
some people's toes that I've seen, it'd be worse just touching
For the,
them.
for the
Person doing it.
Should be another card, eh? Pulling out someone's toenails.
And it applies to them. Just do your own, mate.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
I'll just go for a run. It turns out.
It's probably more painful.
Exactly.
Nasty.
Oh. Thank you guys so much for coming, joining in, and having a barbecue with me and talking about it. So,
Cool, amazing.
yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks.